welcome. This is Dustin Guinee, and you've reached Open Minds, Open Hearts. And this is session 26, Refining Focused Attention. And today we're going to get into really refining our focus and concentration, not just for work or being more mindful as we conversate with others, but really just bringing more focused attention into our everyday life. And much of that practice, it's not that we're straining or thinking hard to focus. It's actually the opposite. We're using meditation and mindfulness to really start to empty the mind, remove distractions, and allow what's really most important in this present moment to come to the surface so that we can focus on that. So we're gonna take a deep dive into that. Going to talk about some of the science. I'm going to guide you through a meditation on focused attention. But first, if you missed last week, a month ago, because now we're doing these sessions monthly. If you missed the session from June, that was session 25, Connecting Through Loving Kindness. In that session, we really took a deep dive into loving kindness meditation. So if you missed that one and you're looking for a little more loving kindness in your life, check that out on my website, openmindsopenhearts.org. And there you can find session 25 along with all my other sessions as well. And you can find the videos and the podcasts for those sessions as well. So as usual, these sessions are free. But if you would like to donate, you can do that on my website as well, openmindsopenhearts.org/donate. Always appreciated as it goes back into these sessions, keeping the technology running, the Zooms happening, the websites humming, the podcasts serving, and all of those great ways to access more meditation mindfulness. So with that, I actually, now that we're doing a monthly session, I've kind of gone back to the way that I used to do things with a slideshow presentation. So I actually have a slideshow again today. So for those joining me on Zoom or YouTube, you'll be able to see that. If you're audio only, I will speak to it so that you won't be missing too much without the visuals. All right. So refining focused attention. I wanted to take this time in July. This is the first day of July that we're meeting. And this is kind of the midpoint of the year. And I think the midpoint of the year is a great time for us to reflect on where we're at in this year. In this case, it's 2021. And where we're going for the rest of the year. It's a really good time to check in on New Year's resolutions. You know, where are we at with some of those resolutions? Maybe we have some goals that we're working towards where we really need additional focus. For myself, July is a special month for goals because it marks this year, July 9th marks my third year of meditating daily. And being a daily meditator. And so it's a bit of it's kind of my meditation anniversary. And I was always kind of on and off again as a meditator up until 3 years ago. And I celebrate this anniversary because it was a significant milestone in my own personal journey. Not only meditating daily and making a commitment to that, but particularly in regards to my focus and concentration. I think becoming a daily meditator, really averaging about 10 minutes a day, not even 20 or 40 minutes like some people. I usually average 10 minutes a day. So it's not exhaustive. But I think just that practice of waking up and getting on the meditation cushion, it's helped me so much with focus at work. I'm working, 8+ hours a day in a corporate environment. And the focus and concentration required to sustain that pace. It's helped me a lot in my personal relationships, especially with my kids, and being more mindful, especially when they are acting difficult, giving me challenges, giving me those growth moments. Being able to stay focused and not lose control, not get caught up in anger or frustration. I can't say it's a silver bullet. I can't say it works every time, but I think this practice of meditation combined with the mindfulness practice of bringing that focused attention throughout your day, that is such a powerful combination. And I know it's been a game changer in my life. And so that's why I do these sessions. And I hope you glean some insights from that as well for you in your own personal practice. So we'll go ahead and set an intention. We'll read some inspired writings. I'll talk a little bit about some of the science and Buddhist traditions around focus and concentration and Samadhi. And then we'll get into a guided meditation on focused attention. So let's go ahead and set an intention for today's practice. Some intentions could be, my intention is to foster more focus in my life. My intention is to be fully present in each moment, keeping my body, head, and heart connected. My intention is to stay focused on what really matters and avoid distractions. So let's go ahead and take a moment to reflect on your intention for today's session on cultivating more focus, being mindful of the distractions in our lives and in our heads. And usually the intention that comes to the surface first is your intuition guiding you. So let's go with that. Okay. I have some inspired readings I wanted to share with you on this topic of focus. So first off, Eckhart Tolle, New Age leader and master of the now, the power of now author. He says, realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. And I really love this, because I think in the West, when we think of concentration, the first thing we think of is, cramming for a big exam, being a student back in college or high school, taking the SATs. We have this very kind of aggressive or, this idea that there's a lot of work and energy being expended when we're focusing. And I love this perspective from Eckhart Tolle that being present in the moment, deeply present in the moment, and making the now, this present moment, your primary focus, that's really all we have, right? Because everything else is either the mind going to the past or the mind going into the future. And that's not really focus, right? Focus is being completely zeroed in and in the zone on what you are doing in this present moment. There's no other a greater focus than to be fully engaged in what you're doing right now, right? And I love that because it's getting away from this idea that we're doing these brain numbing, really hard, mathematical equations. Maybe we are doing that. Maybe we are studying for an exam, but we're not thinking about, worrying about, I need to get an A in this class because then, I need my scores, a certain GPA. If we're doing that, we're not really focused. We're getting distracted. if we're focused, we're reading the material. We're getting absorbed in what we're learning, right? We're not thinking about why we have to do this for some class. We're actually engaging with this material in a curious way, right? Like that's focus. That's being present in the moment. The Buddha needs no introduction. The Buddha says man's troubles are rooted in extreme attention to senses, thoughts, and imagination. Attention should be focused internally to experience a quiet body and a calm mind. So all our troubles are rooted in extreme attention to senses, thoughts, and imagination. Notice none of those things are really the present moment, right? Like those are all sensations happening inside of us, but they're not really a true reflection of the present moment as it stands, right? We often think that our thoughts are the present moment, or our senses, or our emotions. We often see the world through our emotions and our senses. I mean, literally through our eyes, right? But perhaps there's more to reality than what our eyes are telling us, right? Like that is what the Buddha is saying to us. Attention should be focused internally to experience a quiet body and a calm mind. So by turning internal, by becoming aware of those thoughts, senses, imagination, now we're no longer identifying with those things and can kind of see them almost as a third party, as a watcher behind the mind, right? So just a really great way to see focus and being present in the moment. Finally, Thich Nhat Hanh, one of the more influential Buddhist meditation mindfulness teachers of the 21st century, he says it's very important that we relearn the art of resting and relaxing. Not only does it help prevent the onset of many illnesses that develop through chronic tension and worrying, it allows us to clear our minds, focus, and find creative solutions to problems. I love that. The creative solutions to problems seems so much more manageable when we are relaxed and resting, right? When we're lowering that chronic tension, when we're not worrying, we're clearing our minds. And then when we clear our minds, when our mind becomes like this still mountain lake, where the tides have calmed and the water is like glass, we're able to reflect back the heavens and the stars without a filter, right? We're able to understand what is the challenge in front of us, or the problem with a quote. Is it a problem or is it a challenge and an opportunity for your growth? What are those creative solutions that we need to engage to turn this problem into an opportunity? Right? We can't utilize that thinking and that mind frame if we're in a frenzied state, in a state of anxiety, a state of worry. If we're in an emotional state, we're not going to be able to leverage that creative problem solving. And that's what Thich Nhat Hanh is talking about right here. So we do that through meditation and mindfulness. So let's talk about that a little bit. So concentration is known as Samadhi in the Buddhist scriptures. When we talk about the Eightfold Path of Buddhism, right concentration is actually the eighth and final step in the path. But that term concentration is very different, is how it's interpreted in the West versus how it was meant in the original Pali language of Buddha from India. So the term samadhi derives from the root samadha, which means to collect or bring together. and thus it often is translated as concentration or unification of the mind. So I love this idea of unification of the mind, right? Because we're not working really hard and trying to focus on this one little thing. A unification of the mind is expansive. It's an expansive bird's eye view. So by concentrating, we're actually absorbing a much wider scope of information, right? Which is very empowering. This is not tunnel vision focus. This is an expansive unification of the mind that we're talking about. Samadhi is liberation from thought to a state of stillness and awareness. So we're not doing this. This is the irony. To develop focus and concentration, we must not concentrate on it at all. Right? This is the dichotomy of this practice. To become a master of concentration, we must not work at concentration. We must work on stilling and quieting the mind so that concentration and focus arrives as the natural output of that process of relaxing and meditating. So I love that. To get to our end goal of focus, we don't work on trying to focus. We just work on trying to relax, trying to focus on our breathing, focus on an object, right? And then as we focus on something simple like the breath, then all of a sudden we get into a relaxed state. And then over time, now our mind is really going into that unification of mind, that samadhi state, where insights and creative solutions start to come to us, right? And so part of that too is it's a deep equanimity and peace, and the ego dissolving into a feeling of oneness. So samadhi is not just about focusing to get better test scores or to do better at work. It really is a spiritual practice of the ego dissolving and tapping into this unification of mind, this feeling of oneness. So it can help you with the test scores and the productivity at work. Absolutely. That's kind of the pragmatic application. But for those of us that also like to get mystical, there's a very beautiful mystical component of oneness as part of this practice as well. For those that are science-minded, there's also good science behind this as well. So we've talked about this before, but it's worth repeating because when we think about concentration and emotion in the brain, there are two distinct regions of the brain in which this is occurring. The prefrontal cortex is where concentration, logic and reasoning, focus and attention, decision-making, coordination, all of these activities are happening in the prefrontal cortex front part of the brain, the newer part of the brain. In the limbic system, this is the amygdala, this is the older fight, flight, or freeze part of the brain. This is where emotion, aggression is occurring. Also motivation and instinct, memory formation, and reflexive movement to our surroundings. So not to say one is better than the other, but in this meditation practice, we learn to manage and direct both of these sides of the brain. So we use this classic metaphor of the elephant rider and the elephant. The logical prefrontal cortex is the elephant rider, and the emotional fight, flight, or freeze part of the brain is the elephant. And so as the elephant rider, we are not controlling the elephant. The elephant can run off into the jungle and stomp down the entire forest if it wants to. It's a very powerful creature. So is the fight, flight, or freeze part of our brain. It's very powerful. It can make us believe that we are dying, getting chased by a saber-toothed tiger. And even if we're not getting chased by a saber-toothed tiger, our brain has convinced us that we are getting chased. And we could actually feel like our life is threatened when it actually is not, right? So the elephant rider, that logical reasoning part of the brain, helps direct the energy of the elephant, of the emotions, right? So we're still having emotions, but now we have a rider that's directing us. So maybe rather than trampling through the jungle when we're having an emotional outburst, maybe now we're staying on the path and we're getting a little rocked, and maybe the ride is a little rockier than we want, but we're not veering off on a far hard right turn. We're navigating bumpy waters, but we're staying on top of the elephant, and we are moving forward, progressing naturally. So I hope that's a useful metaphor for you as you think about focus and how the brain works. And again, like this science around focus and meditation mindfulness, there is good science to back it up. There's been a lot of studies, including a study from Harvard neuroscientist Sarah Lazar. And in her research, she's found that meditation increases gray matter in the auditory and sensory cortex. So essentially, your mind is quieting while your senses are enhanced. So it's not that you're falling asleep. You're more in a rested state of alertness when you're meditating. So your senses are actually becoming more enhanced. You're actually able to hear a little bit better, see a little bit better, feel a little bit more. Also increased gray matter in the prefrontal cortex. So that logical reasoning part of the brain actually is increasing in gray matter. So, and that was found with 50-year-old meditators had the same amount of gray matter as 25-year-olds. So this idea that as you get older, you lose cognitive functioning, that's actually been shown to essentially reverse through the practice of consistent meditation, daily meditation practice. Also, the amygdala, the fight, flight, or freeze part of your brain, has been shown to shrink with consistent meditation, as they found in an 8-week study of participants that were practicing mindfulness-based stress reduction. So all those things are good for your brain, good for your focus and attention. And so I hope that's just a little bit more insight into what's happening on the physical side as we practice focused attention. And then finally, before we get into our meditation, I wanted to introduce the Hakini mudra. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But yeah, the Hakini mudra is a formation with the fingers to enhance focus. So essentially, you bring all your fingertips together, including your thumbs, and you leave a space in between your palms. And so, you may see like people in business meetings or in movies doing this, because, not only does it look like a stance of power, it actually is a power gesture. That's what Hakini means in Sanskrit. It's power gesture. So the idea is that when you connect the fingertips from each hand, that you're connecting the left and right hemispheres of the brain. I don't know if that's scientifically proven, but that is the ancient wisdom. And it does aid in focus, concentration, and memory recall as well. So just a really another technique to bring more concentration and focus. And so we will practice the Hakini mudra in our meditation, which I'm going to get into right about now. let's begin. Greetings and welcome. This is Dustin Guinee, and I will be your guide on this meditation on refining focused attention. Today's meditation will help us really find greater concentration and focus in a very busy modern society where there are many distractions from our phones, texts, emails, notifications. There seems to be always something that's drawing our attention, often as a distraction from what is really most important in this present moment to focus our awareness on. So this meditation is helpful for those looking to cultivate focus, for studying, if you're a student, for productivity at work, or for just more mindfully engaged conversations with friends and family. I think you will find this beneficial for cultivating your concentration. So let's go ahead and get started. If you're not in a relaxed position, sitting in a chair, feet firmly planted on the ground, straight back, it's important that we align our body with a straight back, our head evenly proportioned over our shoulders, as we want to be in alignment with our body so that we can start to align our mind and our heart to all focus in one general direction. So let's go ahead and get started by bringing mindful awareness to the natural rhythm of your breath. Notice the inhale of your breath. How does the air feel? Is it warm? Is it cool? Breathing in this life-giving oxygen as you feel the air traveling over your lips, filling up your diaphragm, and even put a hand on your belly, on your diaphragm, as you breathe in and out, noticing your exhale. Really tap into that sensation of the exhale, the way that the air moves out of your mouth. Is it warm? Is it cool? Just bringing mindful awareness to all the little details of your breath. Like a child, we're curiously exploring the breath. Just bringing our full awareness and attention to the breath. You can even put one hand on the belly and one hand on your heart. And as you breathe in and out, feeling the heart. You might even feel your heart beat. Tapping into the sensation of the heart, bringing life and blood to the body. Really, source of life, the breath, the heart. Giving thanks and gratitude for this breath and this heart that we have. Being present with our breath and our heart. And as we cultivate this practice of concentration, This is not about thinking really hard or trying really hard to concentrate on something. What we're doing here is we are removing distractions, calming down the mind, and we're not stopping the thinking, but we're not judging the thinking. We're not judging the emotions or the thoughts that come up. We're not attaching to them either. We're simply letting them rise and letting them fall the way that we inhale and we exhale. So our first method, cultivating focus, is to focus on the breath. Our second method is counting our breaths, or counting how long we breathe in and out. So I would like you to try this with me. We are going to inhale for 4 seconds and exhale for 6 seconds. And I will be counting the breaths, but I encourage you to also count in your own head as well, as this is another technique to allow the mind to focus on the counting, just allowing the body to dive deeper into relaxation. So let's do a breath in, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Diving deeper into a relaxed, focused state. As we relax the mind, it becomes like a smooth mountain lake, like a glass-like surface from which we can reflect the skies and the heavens above. So too, our mind can become this reflective surface, this calm mountain lake that can reflect back to us hidden truths, mysteries, creative solutions, challenges that we face, pathways to new opportunities, ideas for self-healing and improvement. So, the first method is to focus on the breath. The second method is to count your breaths. And the third method is the ball of light visualization. And in this method, we imagine a ball of white light in the room with us where we're meditating. And so imagine, if you will, there's a ball of white light, and imagine that in the room that you're in, or wherever you are, that this ball of light is in the distance. Maybe it's 10, 15 feet away. But it's a beautiful glowing orb. It's a mysterious ball of light. And in it is a purity of focus. This ball of light represents the best, very best of ourselves. It represents something pure, something concentrated, something that is compassionate and all loving and kind. For some, this may be a spiritual ball of light, a representation of God or a spiritual teacher. For others, it may just be kind of a beautiful visualization that we focus our mind on, this white ball of light. And as this ball of light is across the room from us, imagine the ball getting closer, slowly moving towards our presence, directed in our line of sight, right in front of us, slowly moving closer and closer. This is not something to be afraid of. This is something that's warm and inviting and mysterious, but ultimately creating a warm, loving glow of white light. And as the white light, this ball of white light gets closer, it's now right in front of our faces, about a foot or two in front of our faces. And so what we're going to do is we're going to grab or put our hands around this ball of light. And we're going to do it with a Hakini mudra. And so the Hakini mudra is basically connecting our fingertips from our right hand to our left hand. Our fingertips are connected, including our thumbs, but we're keeping a space open in between our palms. Okay? So imagine that you are putting your hands around this ball of light with this Hakini mudra. And go ahead and bring your hands, this ball of light, down near your chest, and allow your hands to come back where your thumbs are touching the center of your chest. So our fingertips are touching, our palms are spaced apart, and we're visualizing a ball of white light in between our palms. And this ball of light, as we have our thumbs on the center of our chest, we're connecting this pure light of focus and love, connecting that to our heart, to our heart chakra. We're dispelling any distractions, any negativity, any judgments, and just allowing this ball of white light to be here in our presence. And now let's go ahead and move our hands, still in the Hakini mudra, still this ball of light is in our hands. Let's go ahead and move that up to our forehead, to the middle of our eyes, where our eyebrows meet. This is the third eye chakra. Our thumbs touching our forehead, the third eye chakra, and still in the Hakini mudra, visualizing this ball of light in our hands, focus and concentration, connecting to our mind, to our brain, to our third eye. Breathing in focus, and breathing out distraction. And imagine as you breathe in and out that this ball of white light begins to enter your breath. And you can go ahead and start to bring hands back down your lap. You can keep them in the mudra if you like. But imagine this ball of white light has now entered into our breath, into our lungs. And as we breathe in and out, the white light completely engulfs our being. This is a cleansing white light of focus and clarity, removing distractions, removing emotional blockages that are preventing us from moving forward in life. This white light is healing. It's healing scars and past pains. We are really being dipped into an ocean of light and love as we absorb this white light. We breathe in focus, breathing out distraction. And I'd like to share a few affirmations that if you would like to repeat after me, either out loud or in your head, I'd welcome you to do so. And those affirmations are, I am clear on my intention. I am focused on what is in front of me. I am aware of distractions. I am consciously removing distractions from my awareness to make room for positive thoughts and emotions, to allow my energy and love to flow, that I may be more compassionate and kind to myself and others. So I hope those methods of awareness of the breath, the second method of counting your breath, and the third method of the ball of light meditation was useful for you. You can continue some of these practices in your meditation and also keep them in your day-to-day life as you're trying to cultivate more focus and awareness at your job or with other friends and family, talking, being more mindful in the moment. I hope some of these techniques help you in that effort. And I'd like to close with a poem that I've written entitled On Top the Mountain. On top the mountain, climbing up the ladder to where heaven begins, far above the earth in cycles of love and sin. Climbing up the mountain to see the valley below, to gain proper perspective, realigning with my soul. On the peak, the signal's clear, divine frequency is heard. Above all the distraction, see from the vision of birds. Tiny ants are marching on automatic pilot, ascend from all the suffering, strengthened in the silence. With space to focus, clarity is evident. Getting out of my own way is the best medicine. On top the mountain, angels sing to me, telling me to let go so that I may be free. Clinging to my baggage, an anchor to my ship, heavy collected cargo I cannot take on this trip. To where the stars sing, where light connects us all, swimming in the Milky Way, I hear the presence call. Awoken from my slumber, was it all a dream? How can God exist when life's unraveling from the seams? Yet in the unraveling, a new life has begun, a chance to begin again with the rising sun. On top the mountain, my former self below, a shell of what I used to be, now I've found my soul. An orb of light above me, portal to the infinite. Opening my heart was how this message was sent. Wrapped in compassion, embodied by the grace, on top the mountain is where I found this place. When I descend to the valley down below, I now know the path to return unto my soul. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste. Hey there, friend. If you enjoyed that session and would like to join me in real time, then go to openmindsopenhearts.org and sign up for my free classes the first and third Wednesday of each month at 5 p.m. Pacific time. I'd love to meet you in person via Zoom online for these sessions. Also, on my website, you can find past guided meditations. You can find my training sessions where I go deeper into the science and mindfulness practices around this content. You'll find my poetry for meditation, original music, and a variety of other resources to guide you on your meditation and mindfulness practice. So go to openmindsopenhearts.org, sign up, and I hope to see you at the next session.